The Mirror Effect. Dr. Drew Pinsky is trying to save your kids from the influence of young Hollywood. Please welcome back Dr. Drew. So, Dr. Drew, the season finale of The Sober House aired Thursday, and I know my very good friend, my heart, Andy Dick, was on there. I was with him.
He talks about you all the time.
And I love him. We were together for Christmas, and I thought he was doing pretty good. How do you think Andy's doing?
He's doing fantastic. You know, he's got a little ankle bracelet on called a scram that monitors any alcohol he gets exposed to, and that kind of keeps him honest. In fact, if you notice, when he first went into Sober House, he said he'd like to wear something like that for a long time. It really helps him stay sober. But he's going to meetings. He's actually very close with Jen, the house manager, and they spend a lot of time together. He's doing fantastically.
Okay. The most watched episode, I think, had everybody talking, was Steven Adler, right? Drummer from Guns N' Roses, where, you know, sadly, it really exposed him on a time when he was just strung out on heroin. Yeah. What's his story now? How's he doing? Is he?
I talk to his wife every so often. There he is when he was in trouble there. Whoops.
Oh, boy.
He is. I heard something strange from him last night, so I'm going to make contact with him. I'm a little concerned, but he had been doing very, very well. He actually admitted himself to a residential program at one point because he was feeling a little insecure. So it's been, you know, he has only been prior to the treatment on TV, the television program Celebrity Rehab. He'd only been sober 4 days in his life since he was 11. And so it was
jerking around.
He's on heroin.
He's on heroin.
He's trying to wake up to get it together.
He could be on Dancing with the Stars.
Well, perhaps.
Let me ask you: was there ever a time when you were filming this? When you were filming this, that you thought maybe we should turn it off, or maybe we're going too far? Was there any? Because it's rough to watch.
It is rough to watch, but you know, really the idea was to show people what addiction is. The addicts themselves, they got good treatment. They wanted to be an inspiration to other people. We did a lot of work on, you don't see it on camera so much, but how are they going to feel about this when this all airs? And they all feel like it was a good experience. So yeah, we did worry about that all along, but there it is.
Well, your book is called The Mirror Effect: How Celebrity Narcissism is Seducing America. So what do you mean by that?
Well, basically, it's, as you guys were talking about earlier, right? Forget Brittany and Lindsay, just follow your dog. I heard Joyce say that. I thought, Joy, that's about basically what sums up my book.
There you go. I'll write the blurb for you.
Thank you. Which is that there's sort of a collusion between celebrity, particularly celebrities that have very narcissistic personality styles and their misbehaviors, and the media reporting that. And our most vulnerable in the society, young people particularly, are prone to mirror that. In other words, when young people are in trouble, they look to the culture for solutions to their emotional problems, and the kinds of things our culture is offering are scary. That's right. And you know, this came off of some research that Dr. Young and I did. He's a business school professor at the Marshall School of Business at USC. He's right here.
Hey, doctor.
And we went out and gave questionnaires to over 200 celebrities, gave them the narcissistic personality inventory. In fact, we tested somebody in this. On this dais.
Oh, you tested me, because I was like, I want to take it. How did I do?
She passed. So
wait, I passed with narcissistic? Oh,
that was supposed to be a joke. Actually, Dr. Young is the statistician, and he scored her. So let's hear the score.
What did I?
So, Sherry, the national average is a 15. You scored a 13. However, you scored very high on vanity and exhibitionism.
You know, we did see your Dancing with the Stars piece, and that was
some low end. I'm low in what?
Overall.
You're low. Not narcissistic, but I'm an exhibitionist.
Strangely high, an exhibitionist.
And so, really, narcissism, you know, we don't want to give people the idea.
What is narcissism?
Well, that's the thing. Narcissism is a personality style that often comes from childhood traumas, abandonment, neglect, sexual abuse, physical abuse, this kind of severe narcissism. And the hallmarks are chronic feelings of emptiness, emotional dysregulation, interpersonal chaos. Sounds like watching the celebrity media, right?
Yeah.
And then, but the key liability is a deficiency in the capacity for empathy. So the people become objectified in the eyes of a narcissist, and that's where it gets unpleasant.
But they seem to suffer the way you're describing it. So why are they so annoying if they're suffering?
Well, because they're objectifying other people and use them as a way to make themselves feel better, and so your feelings don't matter. You see how that works?
Would you say Paris Hilton was a narcissist or an exhibitionist?
Well, our exhibitionism is one of the categories in our narcissistic profiles, but you know, narcissism is very common in the people you're watching. I don't know her, but I would guess yes. I would suspect so.
One of our hot topics, remember Christian Bale?
Yes.
Had this whole rant against the director of photography. Now, what do you think about that? Was that narcissistic?
We weren't there, of course, but that was an unregulated rage. Narcissists have a lot of rage. You know, the one thing we're trying to point out, too, is that all of us in this country have had sort of a narcissistic turn. You know, narcissistic is a personality disorder. Narcissism was something debated as whether it even existed 150 years ago.
You're saying everybody's Twitter Twittering?
Well,
you think that matters?
well, there's sort of a perfect storm, isn't there?
No. You mean like somebody like Abraham Lincoln was not a narcissist?
They debated in those days whether narcissism was a real clinical entity. Now you walk into any psychiatric hospital in the country, and that's the predominant personality disorder.
Well, it's pre-Freud, first of all that time.
That's right, but they were developing these constructs, and the point is that was an uncommon condition. It's sort of now the condition of our time.
So then why this whole narcissism with celebrities? Why should the average person care?
That's what I was getting to.
Some that are more narcissistic than others.
The fact is that because we're sort of narcissistic, we tend to act out our own narcissism on these people we're elevating to God's status by acting out our envy and knocking them down. It's a really unhealthy thing. And so really what I'm advocating people do is that they, particularly for parents, like there's a lot of stuff in the media today that kids may mirror. Stop, take a beat, look at that, and ask your kids, you know, what would make somebody behave like that? What do you think is really going on with them? These people are suffering. They're not objects of our disdain. They should be objects of our empathy.
I know, but the parents are in the same situation. The parents are narcissists.
Well, they are, and I would say a second beat to the parent, in addition to using the media as an opportunity to educate the kids, is to let your kids fail, let your kids struggle with their own feelings. Don't rescue them from their feelings.
Right.
Yeah.
It's hard to do.
Dodgeball is okay.
No, but you always feel bad when your kid is unhappy and crying or being picked on.
Yeah, and so your job is it's very hard, and your job is rather than to rescue the child from those feelings, just be there. Be present and empathic. And if you're a narcissist, that's hard.
Yeah.
Because you want to be the solution, maybe,
because the pain your child's fearing evokes your pain, and then you need to make the pain stop.
It's about you.
Yeah. Right. So you give them an 8th place award then to make their pain stop.
Interesting stuff.
I mean, you got to read the book. It's amazing. Everybody in the audience is taking home a copy of Dr. Drew's new book, and we'll be right back. You got to read this book. I did read it.